Hi everybody, today is December 2nd and I am on day 2 of my 30 days of cookies. Tonight we are doing a eggnog cookie and I'm super excited about this one. I'm not really a fan of eggnog. I will drink a little bit of it just for the, I don't know, just because it's festive, just to say I had a little bit, but I'm not a fan. My partner really likes eggnog and so I'm interested to see what these cookies turn out to taste like. My dad really likes eggnog as well, so definitely got a few people around who's willing to give these a shot. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to jump in here, and if you haven't already watched the first video I put out of my butter pecan cookies for the first day of my 30 days of cookies challenge here in December, I will link it in the bio, but definitely give that a try. And I'm going to have 28 more, so I'm glad to have you guys with us and I'm excited. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to get 4 cups of flour. As we go through this, I love being able to share different techniques to make sure that we get these right. And like with the flour, we want to make sure we measure it properly. Baking is more of a science than it is an art. It can be both, but whenever you're following a recipe, which is what I'm doing, and it's just a recipe I found on Pinterest, not mine, just something I pulled that I want to give a try and see if it works out. So we're going to do 4 cups of flour. And how we're going to do this, now bear with me, I have a huge bin of flour because I bake quite often. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to get, you can use a spoon for this, but I use this little shovel, and I scoop up a bunch of flour and I kind of just toss it on top until it's full, and then I level it out completely. So that really gives you a good measurement. You're not packing it, and this is a proper way to measure your dry goods. So we're going to scooch that over, put our bowl back here, and we're going to do 4 cups of flour. And in making cookies, that's quite a bit of flour. So I'm interested to see how many cookies I'm going to get out of this. Most cookie recipes I have seen, you do 2 1/4 cup of flour, something close to that. And so this is quite a bit of flour. All right, and 4. And we're putting all this together. We're going to set it to the side, and we're going to cream up some butter here in a minute, but we're going to get all these dry ingredients together. Please keep in mind, again, I have not ever made this recipe before, so you and I are making it together, and you can follow along. I will put all of the ingredients and the amounts in the description as well, so you'll have that. But yeah, never made this before, so if it flops, we're gonna flop together, and I will say, hey, don't make this. This is a terrible idea. Or this is an amazing cookie like the butter pecan ones. We had a good, strong start, and so those were really, really good. But we're gonna get this together. So we're gonna get a teaspoon out, and we are going to do 1 teaspoon of baking soda. There we go. And if you want to sift this, you can, if that's what your preferred way to do this, if you bake often. I don't usually sift much of anything unless I see that, like, my powdered sugar obviously has lumps in it that won't break up. I don't usually worry about it. But 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of cream of tartar, which I am almost out of. Look how sad that is, guys. Not hardly any left. I hope I have enough for this. Looks like I will have probably just enough for what we got to do. Let me see if I can get it all out. Yep, just barely enough to do what we need to do. Wow, look at that, and hardly any left. Okay. Barely made this. I got to put that on my list of stuff to get a hold of. So put that to the side so I don't forget about it. Next ingredient is 1 teaspoon of nutmeg. Now, I don't use nutmeg often, so I don't really have any ground. So I'm going to be a little bit frou-frou and grind it myself. Honestly, just going to use a microplane and just start getting that in there. This is whole nutmeg, and it smells wonderful. So you want to get what's close to about a teaspoon in there. And this one for me, I'm just going to judge it. For you guys, if you guys don't have whole nutmeg like I do, just go grab you some ground nutmeg. It isn't a big deal. Oh, it's so fragrant and so wonderful. And this honestly will also be the freshest way to do this as well. But that's looking to be about a teaspoon. My partner really likes eggnog, and eggnog, one of the main things in it is nutmeg as a spice, and so I'm going to put a little extra. Okay, so I'm trying to keep to this recipe as close as possible, but adding a little extra of that, you know, that's okay. And that's all with that. So I'm gonna take that teaspoon I use and just kind of mix this up a little bit. Nothing fancy, just mix it. So we're gonna push that to the side and pull our KitchenAid forward so you guys can see in the bowl as I go with this. So the first thing in our KitchenAid we're gonna put in here is a cup of butter, which is 2 sticks. Very, 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 very recently, I got a really good deal at Kroger for butter for $2.49 a pound. And you best believe, because I own a small bakery in my home, and I bake, and it's the holidays, I brought home 30 pounds of butter, and it will get used. It is crazy how I'm so excited about a $2.49 butter. Our local store used to have it for $2.99 all the time, and then they would go down to like $1.99 on a sale. So missing those for sure. But we're putting 2 sticks of butter in our mixer. And you want it room temperature. So take out box out, take 2 sticks out and let it sit on the counter for a couple hours. It will not hurt it. And you want it so soft that it's perfect. So you're gonna have 2 sticks of butter, which is a full cup, and we're gonna go grab 3/4 cup of granulated sugar. And I also have a really, really big bin, like you see over here to the side, of sugar. And this is really cool. This is from from Tupperware, not sponsored in any way, but I love this cup set because it actually has a 3/4 single cup, and it also has a 2/3 single cup as well. So this is one of my favorite things in my shop. It's very helpful, especially whenever you're busy, you're trying to count everything properly. I lose count, especially if I'm having to talk. All right, 3/4 cup of granulated white sugar, and we're gonna need a cup of firmly packed brown sugar. Now, the recipe says you can use light or dark brown. It does not matter in the recipe. All right, so I got my brown sugar, and I'm gonna go ahead and pull out a cup of it. I'm using light brown sugar because it's what I keep in my shop anyway, and what I keep in the house. Every once in a while, if I need something to be extra rich, I will either go and get some dark brown sugar, or I'll add a little extra molasses, which is the only reason it's any more dark. Because all of this is regular white sugar and molasses added to it and thrown into something like this. So the more you add, the darker it gets. So that's firmly packed brown sugar. And we're gonna pull this up, and we're gonna let this mix up really, really good. And we're gonna mix it up until it's nice and fluffy and combined. And keep in mind, I'm doing this at real time. I'm not editing these as much as I can help it, unless like the camera falls over or something weird. Because I want you guys to really see how the cookies are being made, if I run into a problem, and how the cookies are at the very end. Because as everyone knows, I'm sure, these ingredients are not cheap anymore. And so I want to be able to make this recipe so you guys don't have to, and you guys can see if it's any good or not. I scraped down the bowl once, and I went ahead and made sure it was all incorporated. Let me get that out of the way. And so now it's light, it's fluffy, it's all incorporated. It's perfect for what we need. And we're going to go on to the next step, which is 2 eggs. And got 2 eggs over here. Just 2 regular eggs. I'm going to crack these off to the side here in another container. You don't want to risk getting eggshells in your cookie dough if you can help it. So cracking them over on the side definitely will help with that. And then we're going to pull this back up and do this one at a time. All right, go ahead and get that spun out, and then I take this off instead of using a spatula at times because it's harder to get in there. This is built for this, and so I just scrape the sides off and I put it back on. And I'm gonna keep going. All right, that is nice and fluffy now, and so what we're going to do now is we're going to get some vanilla extract. It also says you can use a rum extract. I'm gonna walk over to my extracts real quick, and I'm gonna see what I come back with. Not sure yet, but I'll be right back with you and see what we find. All right, we're gonna do vanilla extract because it's what I had. I thought I had some rum extract over there, but I don't. So it's another thing that should probably go on my list, but you can use either one. Really, it's no big deal. So we're gonna pull out that teaspoon again. And I usually don't measure, like I said in my other video, but today we're going to, just for you all. But if you don't like measuring your vanilla, measure with your heart. That's what a lot of people do anymore. So we're gonna put that in, and we're also gonna add the eggnog. For the eggnog, you need a 1/4 cup for your eggnog. And I am using a Prairie Farms. It is the brand that I got at my local Save-A-Lot. Use whatever brand you enjoy, but you only need a 1/4 cup of this. So if you're fixing to open it, get you a glass at the same time. This is gonna be perfect for like a night before Christmas cookie, to where you can have eggnog set out for Santa and eggnog cookies. That's fun. But it's nice and thick and creamy, and we're gonna add that to our batter and let that mix. Pull that down one more time and scrape the sides. All that thick sugar and butter can get trapped there, so definitely want to take care of that. Pull that up, and one more time. All right. Next thing we're going to do is start adding all of our flour that we mixed up earlier, a little bit at a time. So what I'm going to do is pop this down. If you're doing this by hand, you're welcome to just add it and stir it as you go. I'm going to add 1/3 of my flour and mix this on the lowest setting, because you don't want to overmix these. And just as it comes together and all of the batter starts to look kind of wet again and the flour's getting combined, I'm gonna stop it. I can already smell all of the nutmeg. It smells wonderful. So I'm gonna add another about 1/3 of that flour and keep going. And now I'm going to add the rest of this flour. Definitely smelling festive. All right, and we're going to put this back up. Oops. I lost just a little bit of that flour. Don't worry, my tables are clean. I promise. There we go. As it got all nice and combined, I went ahead and spun it up real quick to a higher setting, and we're going to get this nice and good and combined. And there we go. So this recipe also says to go ahead and refrigerate the dough in the bowl for an hour. As I did with the other cookies, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put these cookies in the freezer and I'm going to go ahead and ball them up like I did the other ones. I have found that freezing or refrigerating the cookie dough in this makes it very hard to get out, especially using cookie scoops. I've broken several. So this is just what I'm going to do. You do whatever you feel comfortable doing, but this dough is soft enough now to go ahead and ball up how I want to. And we're going to go ahead and get those in on a sheet tray like I did the other ones and get them in the freezer for as long as it takes to get them to where when you touch them they don't give. So they're a little bit hard on the outside, but they're not all the way frozen. I did try, now that you guys are here for video 2, I did try cooking the butter pecan cookies from completely frozen and they turned out perfectly. And so I'm not worried about that cookie dough recipe at all. That one is a complete win. And so we're gonna try the same thing with this one and go from there. So let me go grab a sheet pan, get all this disassembled, and we're gonna start putting those together. All right, and I am back. We're going to start scooping out cookies onto this tray. I lined it with just a piece of wax paper, like the deli papers you can get from Sam's or Amazon. I get mine from Amazon, I think. If you watched my first video, you'll be familiar with this scoop. This is my purple scoop that I have. There is a number on it on the inside, I think, or at least there used to be. Anyway, I got this out of a set from Amazon. I just washed it. I just washed it. Yeah, I took credit for that. Silent Shimmer's over there going, no, you didn't. Anyway. I got this out of a set on Amazon, and this is what I used to scoop out all of my cookie dough, so they're all the same size and shape. If you want to use 2 spoons, that is completely fine. You do you. But this is what I'm going to use today. So we're going to scoop out all the cookie dough and see how many we got. The last cookie, the butter pecan cookie dough I got 40 cookies out of. That's a really good number for me. And so I'm going to see how many we get out of this one. And the cookie dough is pretty soft because all you're going to do is scoop in here just like that. And it really does smell like eggnog. I am so excited about it. I don't know about you guys, whenever I hear something like eggnog cookies or anything that has like a specific flavor in the name, you want it to taste like it. And so I really hope these taste like it. Yeah, this is so fun and exciting. It smells so festive. This is a really nice dough. Yeah, and if you guys have been making the cookies from the last video, or if you're going to make these when you get done, definitely tell me about your experience in my comments. Tell me what happened for yours, if it worked, if it didn't work, if you decided, you know what, I don't like vanilla extract, I use the rum extract. You guys had some. Just tell me what you guys did. Did you put like a glaze on these? Did you roll them in powdered sugar? There's all kinds of things you can do. And I definitely encourage experimentation. I try to take a recipe when I get it and I make it how the recipe is at first, and then I try to play with it. So that's another big reason I'm trying to go strict by the recipe and exactly how they have it. This will probably be a very festive cookie because, at least in my area, because we live in such a small place, eggnog isn't just ready available all the time. It comes out every once in a while. That's something else too. If you guys want to use boiled custard for this, see how that works. Play around, see what you like. I know I went to the store, and even at our Save-A-Lot, there was like 6 variety flavors of eggnog this year. It was so many different flavors, and I was like, where were all these? This is the first time I've seen there was like a hot chocolate eggnog and an orange eggnog. It was interesting. And so if you guys have different flavors of eggnog, try those out. See what you can do. Definitely encourage variety and creativity. That's why we're all in this anyways. All right, so we're already getting close to 24, and we still got a lot of dough here. So that's super, super duper exciting. Trying to think of what else would be good in here. Like, I know they have cinnamon chocolate chips, or not really chocolate, but cinnamon chips. The little baking chips, that might be really good in here. Yeah, just some different ideas. Tell me what you guys tried. But I'm going to get the rest of these scooped out, and we're going to see how many we end up with. And there we are. We've got 45 cookie dough balls, and there was a little bit left over, and if you guys are squeamish about raw egg or raw flour, ignore me. I'm probably going to split this with my partner to taste the cookie dough batter and see how strong the eggnog flavor is. So we're just gonna put this over here back in the bowl like we don't see that. So a 45 cookie dough ball recipe is fairly good in my opinion. And looking at all of the ingredients that is here. So that's really, really, really cool. So we're gonna put these in the freezer. What it does say to do, you could bake these just as they are, but it also tells you to roll these in sugar and nutmeg. So you can go ahead and grab, if these are already done and you chilled them in the bowl like it said to, and you already rolled them into balls, what you're going to do is you're going to take 6 tablespoons of sugar and 1.5 teaspoons of ground nutmeg, mix that together and roll all of your cookie dough balls in that and then bake them. I'm gonna freeze mine for a little bit, and when we come back, I'm going to do exactly that, roll these in the sugar and nutmeg and bake them. You bake at 350 like most cookies are, and they want you to bake it between 8 and 9 minutes. This recipe told me I should end up with about 48, so mine must be just a little bit bigger, not by much, maybe by a hair. So that cook time should be about accurate. So yeah, you guys go ahead and do that if you refrigerated them. If you're going to freeze them like I'm going to do, bear with me and we will be right back. All right, and we're back. These cookie dough balls are pretty hard, like I'm tapping on them and I'm not even making a dent. So those are pretty good. I'm going to start getting some sugar together and some nutmeg. I'm not going to do all of these obviously tonight. I'm just going to do a tray of 12 and just see how these turn out. So we're gonna get some nutmeg going. I don't mind doing a little extra, so again, I'm grating my own because that's what I got. So I'm not really measuring, I'm just kind of eyeballing it. But if you really want to focus on doing the recipe right, like I said, 6 tablespoons of sugar and 1.5 teaspoons of nutmeg. So, all right, let me see. I got a little bitty whisk. We're gonna whisk this around if I get that. I think I want a little bit more. This can get kind of strong and even hot, so careful how much you put in. But I want that color to change a little bit more than that. Okay. Perfect. Now, this also calls for a glaze you can put on after the cookies are done. That is 2 cups of powdered sugar, a 1/4 cup of your eggnog, and a 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. I am not choosing to do that because it does say on the recipe that it will stay soft. So if you're wanting to stack cookies to present or to wrap or package, the glaze isn't a good idea. So we're definitely gonna do the sugar. So I'm going to grab my baking tray and pull it over here, get these on. My oven is already preheated, so we're gonna get these rolled and put in the oven, and we will be right back. All right, that's one, and we're gonna keep on going until the tray is full. I just throw my cookie dough ball in, and we shake it around a little bit, roll it over, get it nice and coated, and shake off the excess. And we're just gonna keep going. Now you could take these in your hand, in the warmth of your hand, you can roll them into a nice uniform ball. I don't worry about it too much. We just do it this way. It adds a little bit of an old-fashioned texture to the outside of them, which I prefer. But if you want a very nice uniform cookie, you're welcome to roll them around. And like I said in my other video, yes, I'm handling these just with my bare hands. These are for friends and family. I don't worry about gloves for that. If I do sell any of these, keep in mind that I will be using the same practices I use with everything else, which include gloves. These smell wonderful. I can already smell the nutmeg coming out. I did taste that batter, so if you can't do that, again, ignore me, but it does taste really good. You can really taste the eggnog coming out of it, so I'm excited about these. I like how these are almost like a crossover, kind of like a snickerdoodle cookie with the cream of tartar in it, so that's kind of nifty. Wonder if it's gonna have the same texture whenever I get them baked up. Interesting. All right, so these are all coated in sugar, all put on our tray, and we're gonna throw these in the oven for about 8 minutes, and we will be right back to see what they look like. And we're back. These are hot and fresh out of the oven. They did not spread as much as you would think. They're a little tall, so if you want to press them down, you can. They're not going to deflate that much, I don't think, but these are perfect. I'm just going to tap these down just for my own sake. They look a little prettier when they're not all risen up and poofy. Whenever you're putting these together, if you want to press them down before you bake them, you can, but these are cute and pretty how they are. I'm going to go ahead and get these off the rack so they can stop cooking, because if you keep them on the pan, they're going to continue to cook, which is great if you need them to set a little bit longer, but these are perfect. All right, let me get this hot pan back out of the way. And here we are. Now these went in, for me, was about 10 minutes. I pulled them at 8 and looked at them. They didn't look quite done, but they look wonderful. They smell wonderful. We're gonna give them a little bit of a taste and pick one up and you pull it apart. Yeah, these are absolutely gorgeous. And so we're gonna put this here so we can finish setting. They're very, very hot. And I hope you join me for the next video. We're gonna have 30 total cookies in this challenge, so definitely come back and see us. If you haven't already watched the first video, please do. And if you want to leave me a comment below, that'd be amazing. Please don't forget to be kind, and we'll see you guys next time.